Welcome back. We are continuing our week of Psycho Killers. So we got ourselves some professionals to help us out. What it is, Video Nasty Project?
Thank you for having us on. I'm Tony.
I'm Ian.
Ashley Simwa.
And we're at least about 80% of the Video Nasty Project.
It's a pleasure to meet you. This is our first time having you on our channel, but our channel is about movies, and so is yours, so let's get right to the film, shall we? This film is about a serial killer who likes to hang himself. No, not in that way. You know, the way where you pierce yourself and float above your victims? Now, he obtains his prey and sticks them in what appears to be a nice hotel room. I would say 3 stars. Now, this hotel room also has a giant shower, which won't let up, and all of his victims end up drowning. Now, also in this strange universe, there exists a technology where only dated pop stars like JayLo, yeah, remember her? Well, she can enter the dreams of people and figure out what makes them tick. She soon finds herself caught up in a typical cop drama with non-typical dream sequences, and she must figure out how to save the newest victim of the serial shower killer. Also starring Vince Vaughn. I'm an actor.
Well, if Silence of the Lambs and A Nightmare on Elm Street had a love child, that would be this movie.
I think more Dreamscape, but yeah.
Well, you can get a 3-way. Unless you want to throw X-Files in there.
Now, a lot of movies can make it ambiguous as to whether the villain is really a villain. And they kind of touch on that in this movie, but you know he's a bad guy because he's got all these piercings and he hangs himself above his victims and just like wanks off.
Nothing wrong with, well, okay, there's a little bit wrong with that.
There's a little bit wrong
with
with
the
it.
actual suspension, I mean, people actually do that, and I think it looks like it could be relaxing and meditative.
Maybe.
I mean, what do you think?
I want to know who installed those D-rings in his back for him. Because can you reach back there and do it yourself?
No.
He probably had it done at a piercing place that specializes in body
Getting the
mod.
rings installed in his skin, that's one thing. Connecting the chains? Not possible.
That's possible.
That's fine. It's easy. You just, put your arm back here. You get your thing. Then it... What stood out for me the most in this film was the imagery. It's mind-blowing.
Yeah, very visually complex.
There's a lot going on, and I feel like this film took inspiration from some earlier movies, and there's obviously some other movies which took influence from this film, namely The Fall. I feel like the director and producer of The Fall had to have seen this film because they were like, wow, that's great. Let's take this and just make a different story around the visuals.
Make a nicer story, not a horror movie.
Well, it's still a sad story, but not as scary.
It did have a kind of giallo light feel to it, where it's in a Italian horror movie, the narrative often takes a backseat to visuals, to images, to ideas, to music. And what you do when you're watching Suspiria, when you're watching Deep Red, when you're watching The Beyond, you just kind of sit there and let these ideas wash over you and say, that was kind of cool looking. The narrative really kind of does.
Yes, but in the instance of The Cell, there's no narrative brought by it. Yes, it's inspired by giallo films, but in giallo films, these visual sequences usually have something to do with what's going on.
So basically, you get a bowl of giallo with no flavor.
That's good. Another good way of putting it.
3 scoops. Sure, Joey. Dig in, dig in, dig.
All right, so an important safety tip. There was that scene where Agent Lopez, she gets stoned out of her mind and then she puts Forbidden Planet on. Not Forbidden Planet, my bad. It was Fantastic Planet. That French,
Fantastic Planet.
That French movie, that cartoon.
For God's sakes, whatever you do, do not do this. Not that I speak from experience or anything, but that shit will destroy you.
That movie is fucking weird.
Not only with Fantastic Planet, don't try to do that with this film either. Speaking from experience, that's kind of how I discovered this movie back in high school.
Really?
But there's so much of a trippy nature to this. And there's this one scene with JayLo where they ask her to go into the mind of the serial killer, and she explains to them that he's so far removed from reality that she might get just completely nonsensical imagery out of him.
Right, he's a schizophrenic. What he sees in his mind could be so far removed from reality.
And that gives them total liberties just to berate you with this screwed up stuff.
Right, but what's neat is it's not just this completely out there imagery. There's some very focused stuff on the dude's history, his childhood mainly.
Yeah, there's this one part where he's playing with dolls, and his dad is so mean to him. You could tell he associates dolls with being evil.
Yeah.
So that's why, like in the bathroom scene, he's bleaching his victims to
make them look like dolls.
Exactly.
I thought the bit with the bathroom was actually kind of clever because the scene before that, had Agent Lopez feeding her kitten some milk. Cut to immediately this milky white substance, and then all of a sudden this corpse comes floating up out of it, and you're like, well, that was kind of disturbing.
Well, that's a good cut. That's a good segue. Yeah, I won't argue that, but it's like the whole sequence with the horse getting dissected. What did that have to do with the story?
Now we can actually help you with that because Pip and I both come from an art background, so let's get a little pretentious. Now, as brief as it may be, the apartment of the serial killer has a lot of art, and some of that references real-world artists. Namely, one of which is Damien Hirst, a British artist from the 90s. He would preserve and dissect animals very much like the horse. If you Google image it, you'll see this is exactly what it was. That's what it was referencing.
And one piece that I recognized immediately when watching this film was when Vince Vaughn first entered the dream world. You see these three women representing the serial killer's mother, all staring straight up with their mouths open. Now that is almost exactly the same as a painting by Odd Nerdrum.
Basically, The Cell, it's pretentious.
It's pretentious.
So I suppose for a final rating, what did you thumbs up, thumbs down? What do you think?
I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. But I liked it enough to watch it in one sitting without getting up to get anything or do anything like that.
I liked it, but then I watch a lot of Italian horror movies, so I'm a little used to the what the hell is going on, and just take it and go. So I liked it with the caveat that it's not for everybody. Obviously, the everybody is you. All right, what would you guys think?
Ashley, I agree with you. The film was entertaining. I watched it the whole way through. I did get up one point to grab a beer, but the plot and the acting brought it down. The visuals kept me interested.
Yeah, by no means is this a cult classic. It's a pretty middle-of-the-road movie. But for me personally, I have really good memories to this. Like I said before, I discovered it during high school. So this was definitely influential for me to go out and find other horror movies.
So I know that you guys, in fact, like to review beer on your shows. We couldn't find anything that would fit The Cell appropriately, but what is Seattle known for?
Seahawks.
Sounders.
No.
Jimi Hendrix.
No.
Microsoft.
No.
Amazon.
No.
Um,
If one of you says grunge, I'm going to punch both of you in the nose.
You said it.
God damn
punch
it.
yourself.
Seattle is known for coffee, for Starbucks.
Oh.
So we got some coffee.
Starbucks.
Yes.
Seattle's best.
Seattle's best coffee. I'm sorry.
Now, neither Pip or I live near Seattle, so we couldn't get Seattle's best, but we could get Rogue's best. And Rogue has a cold brew IPA, so in keeping with the coffee theme, let's give this a shot.
So this is
the dark
Intense level 5.
Lord.
Gentlemen.
Okay, so kind of the flavor of ass with more ass on top with diet ass in the mix.
Your Seattle citizenship has been revoked.
God damn it, not again.
What I did is I brewed the coffee the way I like it.
He might have put freaking 18 cups in here. It's like, so if this is like Popeye strong.
Yep.
Yep.
This is mud.
So there you have it. There's our brew. So what do you guys got for us?
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Hey, did Jaws. Now, for a coffee-infused beer, I really don't get a lot of coffee in the aroma.
Yeah, the flavor is IPA. It's not like a resiny IPA. It's definitely not a floral IPA. It's just kind of that middle-of-the-road bitter.
It's pretty flatline. As you gulp it, when you breathe out, you do get that coffee flavor, but it's fairly light.
Now, I do have to say, we're drinking this a little bit warmer, which you normally do with an IPA, but because it's cold brew, I think it would greatly improve if you chill this ice cold.
Well, anyway, thanks for having us on the show. Hopefully your beverage goes down better than our
Ass.
ass drippings.
It's some good shit.
All right, we'll catch you later, guys.
I hated the movie, but I like the brew.
I like the movie. I hate the brew.
Come for the movie, stay for the ass.
Ay.
I gotta say, it's nice to see some people disagreeing for once, because Pip and I usually agree on everything we watch.
Sometimes.
Usually. So thank you, Video Nasty Project. It's been a real pleasure working with you.
Yeah, and anybody interested, go check out the Video Nasty Project.
Where we take a look at all sorts of terrible movies that Mary Whitehouse wanted to get rid of and watch them for you. Ay.
So go check them out. And thanks for watching another episode of Review and Brew. We'll see you next time.
Cheers.
Got myself a crying, talking, sleeping, walking, living doll. Got to do my best to please her just 'cause she's a living doll.